So here are our mobile manager, and the way I like to do it, the first thing I want to do is start you out with a tablet tour, as I like to call it. So what you're basically seeing on my screen right here is my tablet. It's being put on my computer so you can see. And you see my computer cursor, my pointer, on that screen. So I just want to make sure you understand what I'm doing here so that you can see what I'm doing. I have it on my computer, and instead of tapping on it, I'm going to use my cursor so you can see where my finger would go. So occasionally I make the mistake of saying, oh, click here and click there, when I'm really saying is tap there and tap here. All right, so hopefully everybody understands that. And let's get to it. Let's go up to the upper left-hand side of the tablet first. I call this the Mobile Manager menu, drop-down menu, and we're going to take a walk through what all this stuff does for you. First thing on the list is your tablet's assignment. Who is the owner? Who is the person that's using this tablet? And as you can see, my name is John B., and I'm the service writer, and I have that set up for me today. If I want to choose somebody else, all this comes out of your management system, Mitchell, at this point, so you can choose any individual. If you want to change it to Ken, tap on there. If you want to change it back to John B., tap on there, hit OK. And here's the thing about the tablets. You want to assign to each individual because when you're doing your chat functions and you're making other things happening, that's how we're going to connect who's doing what with each inspection and each job that's on here. So assigning it to that individual is a great way to get that to happen and make things good. All right. Next point down is our work in progress screen. Hopefully you've had your tablets for a bit, you've been playing with them and using them, and you now recognize that that screen right there is an exact duplicate of what we got going on in our Mitchell program. That's our work in progress screen, and everything here is really good. We're going to come back to this because there's a lot of other details that we can talk about. I just want to continue my tour here. Any current inspections that you have going on a vehicle that's here, a vehicle that's completed, and it's not been invoiced, you have the access to looking at all those inspections. And just like being in a repair order, you can actually go into these inspections by tapping on them and go in and take a look and see what's going on with the inspection at this point in time. And you have all these different things. You can even send this inspection from the tablet if you wish, or even look at it, a number of different things that we can do. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit. So I'm going to get out of there with not marking that complete. I'm going to move on. After that, schedule. One of the nice things about the scheduling, that anybody that's here has a schedule and hasn't shown up, it shows up right here. And if you want it to, you can tap on there and convert that right into an estimate and actually write that person up. And we're going to be talking about the meet and greet, going out to the customer with the tablet and starting your conversation with them out by the tablet as opposed to bringing them in to the service desk. So at this point, we're going to let that go for a bit. And you can scroll back and forth to your days, what's coming up and what's happening, see what's coming in tomorrow, if anything. This is easy by tapping on each side of that gray bar. Time clock. You now have the ability to have your technicians clock on and clock off jobs to see what their efficiency is. And again, another thing that we're going to come back here. What this screen does for you here shows all the different technicians that are working on different jobs at this point in time. And as you can see, we have nobody that's working at this point. Chat. As Mitchell management system people, you have team chat, which allows you to send general messages out to everybody in the shop. So you can easily say, like today, lunch, if I could spell, that would be good. Boy, let's try this again. Lunch meeting. So you need to have a lunch meeting at noon. Type that in there. Tap on here, and that message goes out to everybody. So it's a team chat message that's going to go out to everybody in the house, everyone that's on the system. This is not an external text message. It's not going out to a telephone or anything like that. But any PC that's got Message Manager on, any tablet that has this function turned on is going to see that message, and it goes out to everybody. There is no privacy to that. After team chat, you now have individual chat. And this is one of those times having that a tablet assigned to me, John B., is important, because if I want to send just a private message to Frank, like, you know, Frank's that technician that always disappears where you need him, well, I can send that message out to him. You know how some technicians have a habit of hiding out in the bathroom? Well, Frank's one of those guys. So I'm going to send him a little message and ask him if that's what's going on. Or, of course, I can send a little joke or whatever. But that's only going to go to Frank, and that's only going to go between him and I. So, again, you have a nice private chat. And the big things, folks, exercise this use. Many of our customers have larger shops or maybe shops that go over a couple buildings. And having the Wi-Fi that covers that area, no more walk the talk. Stop having your technicians out of their bay walking up to the service desk or going for parts, whatever. Use this communication to talk back and forth, and keep it under control. Don't let it go nutso and stuff like that. But this is a really great tool. Be sure you use it because shops that I've been in you can easily spend a half hour a day walking back and forth. All right, settings. This is where we set up our tablet, and there's a couple important things for you to be aware of here. Your tablet, like your computers, are all on Wi-Fi, and they have to have specific addresses and ports. And what this does in the settings screen here is tell the tablet this is your address, and this is who you're talking to, and this is who you got to be communicating with. You have to go back and forth. I'm going to give you a heads up. When Windows has an update or power goes out, or sometimes just because it happens, these addresses can change. So if your technicians or your service advisors come in the morning and find that the tablets are not communicating to your Wi-Fi, one of the first things you want to do is do the scanning process. So on the tablet, you're in settings, you're in the scan settings code. In your management system, what we have to do is we have to go out to Report Pro. We got to go over to settings and see this here. It's called Mobile Config. Mobile Config is going to generate an actual QR code that's going to show the address of the computers and what the tablets need to do. So going into Report Pro, opening up this, it's going to open up a window here. And it's going to give me my address and port, and also all my programming for my stickers, key tags, and whatnot should all be in there. It's going to tell the tablet these are where it's allowed to print. And this code here is going to allow the tablet to do that. Now, if I attempt to do it right now because I'm using my tablet on my laptop and show you what's going on, I'm going to lose the connection. But basically what you need to do is tap up on this gray bar here, and it turns on the tablet's camera. And I can show you that by showing you the water bottle on my desk, my happy little guy over there. And what you want to do is scan that QR code. And when the tablet sees that QR code and successfully scans that QR code, it's going to tell you that it's resetting. You're going to get little messages pop up here. It's going to say resetting the address and the port and reconnecting to your Wi-Fi. And from that point on, everything should be good to go. So keep that in mind. If you have an issue, make sure this is on the server computer that the Wi-Fi is hooked up, and have it easily accessed so your technicians or your service advisors can get to it, because it will happen. These statuses come right out of Mitchell. This is the status column that you got there, and you can have it change. You can set up whatever you wish. So when the work order, create it, mobile estimate, record it, start it, inspection start it. It's all pretty straightforward. And if you want to look at it and change, you can click on there and go in there, choose whatever you wish, and put it in. And again, these statuses come out of your management system. Printers. I already talked about the fact that when I scanned and I hooked up my computer, that my tablets are going to use these printers to print. So you can actually print loop stickers and key tags and report estimates and invoices right from the tablet. So think about that. We're going to go through a little scenario that makes better sense. But this is where you set that up. Make sure that name is there. If you have integration of ProDemand and ShopKey, this here is where you're going to click and enter the credentials that allow you to actually connect. So you have to have your licensing number and your name and put that in there. And you're going to have it automatically add TSBs to the new work orders as they come out. If you're using SureTrack, again, you have to be licensed and in there. You can have these items automatically add to new work orders. The commonly replaced, common DTCs, and common symptoms. I have them deselected. If you have them selected, it's going to happen. I have them deselected because I don't want to get things all jammed up when I'm showing you how to use the basics. But these can load up some of your repair orders and stuff like that and make it a little harder to understand. Repair information, again. Which form of repair information are you using here and connecting to? So make sure you have that selected so that when you use it on the tablet, it goes through ProDemand. And again, you have to have your license and whatnot put in. Barcode scanning. You're going to be using the tablet to scan VIN numbers and things of that sort. Those are barcodes. old tablets had lights on them. You'll find that most of them do not have anymore, but if you have an older tablet with that light, you click here, and that's going to turn that light on and help be able to scan in a darker environment. But most of the tablets today do not need this function, so it's pretty much just hanging out there. And barcodes. If you find that you're scanning barcodes and having issues, you can select here and try again, and what that's going to do for you is allow it to scan a little more efficiently. Chat. We already talked about team and private chats. With these two boxes selected, when I send those chats out, the message should pop up on my tablets letting me know that someone sent a private chat to me or a team chat to me. It'll all come out. Carfax. This is one of the methods that we use for decoding the license. Please read the agreement that's in there before you click the sign. Carfax doesn't charge anything, but they do collect information, and if you don't want to be part of that, read that disclaimer and everything that's in there, and be sure you want to do that, or opt out. You have that chance to do that too. And finally, this is kind of hanging out there, but they are working on some labor profit management software, and it's just a parking space waiting for that to be turned on. It hasn't happened yet, so you can just leave that be as it is. So are there any questions about our quick little tour of the tablet and what we got going on here? Alrighty, so let's go into work in progress then, and let's see what we got going on here, because as I said, I'm going to come back. This is the screen that you're mostly going to be using, so it's kind of important to understand how to get around in here. Left side, we got the menu that we already went through. We have all our vehicles displayed here, and we have a number of ways of showing the way they're going to be displayed. So we're going to go right over to this menu here. I call it the triple dots menu, and tap on that. Now, if you feel that you may have gotten out of Wi-Fi range or something changed on the main computer, whatever, the refresh button is a way of telling the tablet, hey, can you just check into home base and make sure that you can display the latest and greatest. So like one of these jobs got completed on the main PC, you're still seeing it here, hitting that refresh button, it'll tell this tablet to take a look and that job should go away. The other thing that you see underneath the triple dot menu is this display. How do you want to see the jobs that you have displayed in your work in progress? So tapping here gives you a number of choices. Again, if the box is selected, that means we've chosen that. So in my opinion, if I'm a service advisor and I've invoiced something and it's done and it's waiting for the customer to pick up, I don't necessarily want to show it on my tablet. So by deselecting invoices, all I'm going to see is estimate and repairs when I go and hit OK. And I'll show you how that works. Sort by. We give you a variety of different ways, by customer name, vehicle, order number, et cetera, et cetera. My favorite way to go is by promise date. And the reason for that is the jobs that need to be done first are going to be stacked to the top. And this will actually look at time due too. So for example, this afternoon, I have a vehicle that's due at 3 o'clock and a vehicle that's 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. It should list them 3, 4, and 5 because the one at the top is the one that needs to be done sooner. And that's me as a service advisor liking that, because that tells me if I'm in trouble or not, the way things are flowing. And you can display by who and what tech has been assigned to the jobs. So here, let's choose Saxon Warner. We took off the invoices going promise date and watch what happens. Warner's only got one job on a ticket today. We can keep the tech's view of what they're looking at. So we want Warner only to see his jobs. We want Bill only to see his jobs. So that's where you're going to make those settings. And remember, too, when you make those settings, that this should be assigned to Warner also. So Warner is the one that's using that tablet and doing all that. And the reason I'm doing it the way I am, because I want you folks to understand the advisor side of things, and then I'll show you how the tech does it. So multiple ways of displaying what you see. You have your invoices there, as I said. You can display by one tech or all text. That's up to you. Choose your favorite way of doing it. You're good. You also have the ability to search. Now, when I only have 4 jobs, it's not a real big deal. But here, you can search if you have a long list of vehicles hanging out or something like that by name or whatever, and just type in a name there. Look for it. If you know the RO number, a lot of times you can use that too. And when you're done your search, hit that little X and you're back to your main screen. This button here is the one that's going to allow us to add a job. Now remember, you have your management system in the palm of your hands. You can take Mitchell anywhere you want. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a scenario, so hopefully you'll understand how to use the tablets and how to make them integral to your service process from beginning to end, and how to get the maximum out of these things. First things first. It's nice to stay outside, and it's a little chilly here, but it's still pretty nice. And I see a car pulling a lot. So I'm going to pick up my tablet and walk on out and tap on the plus symbol here. This brings up a search screen. Tapping on this little arrow here allows me to search by VIN, license, customer, phone, or name. Well, I'm going to choose license. Why? Because we make our license big so we can see from the distance and identify people from the distance. That's why we got them on cars, so the police can find out if we're owing tickets or something of that sort. So as I walk out in the lot, there's a very good chance that this new car that just drove on, I'm going to be able to see the license. And very conveniently, it's an easy to remember one. I'm Joe. So when I walk out to the lot and I see I'm Joe, what I'm going to do is just punch that in there, hit the search button, and it's going to bring up the car. And I look, it is a 2005 Hyundai that just drove onto the lot. So Joe, I identify the car by the license. It drives on the lot, and here's all I need to do now. If it's a car that I don't have in my system, of course the license plate's probably not going to work, but I do have the ability to start a brand new customer, new car right out the tablet. And again, all this information is automatically going to go right back into Mitchell. So use it to your best. So let's get back to the scenario here. I see the car, I identify it. I see it's a Hyundai, and as I walk up to the car, I go, hey, I see it's a gentleman driving. How you doing, Mr. Joe Carr? Joe Carr, right? How you doing today, man? Glad to see you. And as I'm clicking on the car here, or I should say tapping on the car, I'm starting the work order, and voila, it's already beginning. And you can see that it's doing a look at short track and whatnot. And the first thing that I need to get on this car, ladies and gentlemen, is the mileage. And I find it crazy that people don't do this. And this is why we send you directly to that mileage thing. So I want you to think about this, is that the fact that you just walked up to the customer's car, you greeted them by name, so they're going to be like, wow, this is really cool. You're away from the shop. You're outside if it's a pretty nice day. Of course, if it's pouring rain and doing all sorts of craziness, you don't want to be doing that. But think about this now interaction, how you've made it a one-on-one thing. You got away from the noise of the shop. You got away from the phone. You got away from the smells that some customers really don't like. You meet and greet them out here, and the first thing we make you do is get the mileage. I just looked at one of our employees' paperwork from a recent oil change. No mileage, no nothing on it. That's nuts. I don't understand how that could happen. But get that mileage in there. Next thing you do is you tap down here, choose your service writer, which is today. You can see water is being assigned. I'm going to let that go right now. And the reason for that is because a little bit later when I add jobs to this, I might want to assign a couple of different people to different jobs. So I'm going to leave that blank right now. And this is that status that we just talked about a couple minutes ago. It's just started. And if I go to my Mitchell program, there's I'm Joe Carr. There's the status right there that we're talking about. And as you can see, it's all happening live in our system. So one of the nice things is it's showing that we have a great connection. So, Joe, what are you coming in for today? I'll continue with the scenario. I'm not just talking to myself. And Joe goes, yeah, you guys told me I got a couple things going on. So as you may have noticed, I went to the positive sign, the plus sign on my new screen. And this is all our quick jobs. In Mitchell, you have the ability to build canned jobs, and the top 30 of them are going to show up in this list here if you have them selected in the Mitchell program. And what this does for you, it makes it very easy for you to get right to the top 30 jobs. Going back here, we have a number of different methods. You want to look it up by a category, how you have them registered in your category. If you just want to see your whole list, and I have over 300, so that's a little inundating. But here's the cool ones that we just added in the last couple of months, and I hope you folks are updating on a regular basis. Used recently. If I have 3 service writers, 2 service writers, or 1 service writer, the last 10 jobs that were written up populate this menu here. So in Pennsylvania, we have state and admissions. That's a yearly thing, and guess what? I'm probably going to do it every day, so guess what? It's that easy for me to add it because it's one of the popular jobs. And as I go through here, if I have the winter special going on, I can tap that because my last couple of people have sold that. So the jobs that we're carrying, this spring AC check is eventually going to get off that list as I keep selling more and more of these other jobs. And it's a nice thing because it's a quick and easy way to access this. So just tapping on those jobs, as you know, it's going to open up repair lines. And I want to point out this other one before we go any further. Can job used on year, make, and model. I love this. You know that certain cars have certain failures. So we have certain Dodge trucks or other types of trucks out there that the bowl joints are always falling out of the darn things. So if today I was writing up a Dodge truck and customers saying something about a noise on the front end or some symptom that's telling me it might be the bowl joints, well, I'm going to go to this year, make, and model here, because if I've done that job on a Dodge of the same year, make, and model, guess what's going to be up there? My canned job for doing the bowl joints is going to be right there waiting for me. So we made it quite easy for you folks to find a variety of different ways of actually writing up your jobs. And this is all coming out of the canned jobs that you have built in your Mitchell system. So hopefully you've taken some time and done that, okay? So my jobs all populate. Everything's right there. We're good to go. All right, Joe, you have any questions? Yeah, I do actually, okay? So I just moved from my order screen where I started writing up the customer. Next thing I want to do is look what you have available out by the car. All the recommendations that you set up in this vehicle for previous visits now is listed right here. So in addition to what Joe's asking for me today, I can look in this here and see if there's anything that's outstanding that we said that he needed to get done. So maybe we found that some kind of issue was occurring on the car and you didn't get the diagnosis done. Hey, Joe, how would you like to do the diagnosis and whatever that concern is? So you have all the recommendations right here. And here's the other thing I want to make sure you folks understand. You're out by the car, you're having that conversation, go over to history, because you know what's going to happen almost half the time a customer comes in. They're going to give you the since you. Yeah, you all know what that is. Since you did my brakes, since you fixed my car, since you. And we all cringe when we hear that. And we also know that since you isn't necessarily something we did last week. It could be something that we did 2 years ago. All right? Well, why are you bringing it back now? Well, guess what? You have the tools, why standing by the car, to look at the since yous. Well, Joe says that since you did the brakes, they're making a little squeaky noise. And as I can see in the history here, folks, yes, we did them in October. So you know what? We're doing an inspection today, Joe. I'll take a look at that, and if there's anything I can do to take care of that, I'll be more than happy to do that. And if there's something else we need to address, I'll bring that to your attention. So look at what we just did here. We're out by the car and having a great conversation with the customer. And this history that you see here, folks, is totally searchable. If you're looking for something specific, when the since you question comes up, put it in here. So I'm just going to put in oil for now, hit that, and it's going to go through and look for the last oil changes and stuff. And man, Joe, we haven't done your oil since 2011. Dude, what are you doing, man? All right, so you can have really good conversations and having the full history available to you right here. And remember, this is all in chronological order. So great thing, another sales tool, because you can look here and say, wow, we haven't done your alignment in a while. Well, let's get to it, buddy. Let's do it. Actually, we did it in October. Never mind. But so, all right, history, order we already been through, vehicle we've been here, but we have to come back to here. A couple of things on this screen to bring to your attention. The fact that you just walked out to the customer's car, you now have the ability to cut down on your body shop donations. Why? Because you're going to walk around the car and with the customer right there and identify all the damage that's on that car today. As a matter of fact, you can take a picture of that damage if you wish right here. You can see I have a picture of the car. You can take a picture of the car from the angle that you want that damage to show. So it's right then and there, and there's no argument that the car came in. But on top of that, if you want to even note it even better, you may have noticed I took the vehicle memo out. If your tablet is capable of speech to text, you see the little bugger down there? Not all tablets are, but most of them are today. You can actually click on here, and with the customer there, do this. Noted damage with customer, right rear of vehicle. It worked. Sometimes I mumble a little bit and it doesn't work, but there you go. I just had that conversation with my tablet with the customer there. There's no issue. And here's the other thing I might suggest. Hook up with that body shop that you've been sending all your business to. Tell them to give you some carts so that when you have damage, you can refer them over there, and maybe the body shop will help you out with some of the damage that does occasionally occur. So that's a great deal there, folks. It's a great way of dealing with that and walking around the car. But think about this. Forget about the damage part of things. Think about the fact that now, with all these recommendations, if I told the customer the tires are low, or something of that sort, it's all right in front of me. They're like, hey, remember last time you were here we mentioned your battery's loose or something of that sort? Pop the hood, show them what you're talking about if they didn't fix it. If the tires are getting low, show them that they're getting there. So use this to your advantage. License and VIN number. If this is a brand new car and it's just coming in, you can scan the VIN by tapping here. And when you take the tablet, you're going to hold it up right to the VIN number and scan that VIN. Of course, this should not work. All right, and of course, and just as easy as you saw what I did there with that red line and getting it on the barcode, it should read the VIN. But we're going to know that with windshield reflections and damage to the sticker and wear and tear, that the VIN number always is not going to be the way to go. So if this is the first time the vehicle's here, we can go to license. Now, all I'm going to do here is take out the I'm Joe here, and I'm going to put it back in. And I'm going to go over to the menu right here and decode that license. Give it a moment. And here's one of the really big pieces here, folks. All the build information for this vehicle, all the different models that are available are now being pulled down. You're at the car, you look in and find out, is it an automatic or is it a manual? Does it have ABS? Does it not have ABS? Your chances of choosing the exact right combination here are greatly improved, which means any parts being ordered in the future, folks, aren't you going to have a much higher accuracy at that? So you look inside the vehicle, it's a 4-speed automatic front-wheel drive with 4-wheel ABS. Tap here, all that information is already entered here, and when you go in, oops, I chose the wrong one. And once you go in there, you go right to the other thing. Mitchell, you'll see all that information's been input. Is this feature, will it work when the tech writing a story? Which feature, because I know your question popped up a moment ago. So you're going to have to answer that. Which feature you're talking about there, DHAT? So, all right, so cool. So you can decode this. Now the thing with the trucks, and this is going to answer a question before DHAT asks, because the VIN numbers and the builds of the trucks are a bit different, this decoding may not work and you're manually going to have to do that. The license may pull the VIN over, but you may not be able to decode the VIN because of the way trucks work. All right? All right, moving on. We've talked to the customer. Oh yeah, one of the things about the speech to text, we use have your technicians can be using it, but if one guy's having a really bad day and he's throwing F-bombs, be very careful. This does pick up on those F-bombs and that stray language that's out there. All right, finally, Joe, man. All right, I think we got you covered. Oh, wait a minute, Joe. Let's just check out your basic information because there's one last thing we want to do before. Make sure the customer's name and address and everything's good. And if this is the first time the customers come in since you're using your mobile manager technology and you're using texting to contact customers, this is how I suggest you bring the customer on board to texting. Go to this little menu item up on the upper right-hand side and tap on it. It's automatically going to pull the phone number for Joe's texting to. And a new feature that just went out this week, if you didn't know, you can tap and hold right on there. If the customer is giving you multiple numbers that you can text to, you can tap and release that phone number right in that little window there, and you see how it pulled down this drop-down menu. And you can choose the one that the customer wants to use. Now, here's why I'm doing this. I'm by the car. I've walked around the car. We've had all our conversations. My shop is called JB Automotive, and I'm going to send this text right to the customer while I'm working with them right by the car. And you know what's going to happen. Their phone is going to buzz, and aren't they going to ignore me for a few moments and look at it? Definitely. When they look at it, they're going to say, whoa, JB, what the heck is that? Well, you're at JB Automotive, Joe. And guess what? You've been here before, but I want to let you know we're using text to contact our customers. Oh, really? Now, if Joe says, I don't want that, I'm old school and whatnot, that's fine. That's the end of the conversation. Make sure you make the notes that you don't text the customer. But Joe, he's happy about it. So here's what we're going to do. Joe, if you don't mind, why don't we put my JB Automotive right in your contacts since you got my phone number right there, so that every time I text you, that text comes up and you see JB Automotive, and because your car's here and you want it back today, you'll look at it and get back to me ASAP. Hey, that's a great idea, Joe says. So what we do is we program in here. Now look what we just did. We got Joe's permission to text him, and we can even prove it because we're in his contacts. And now we also set up, Joe, that we're going to be texting them. But wait, there's one more thing. And just to let you know, Joe, because of this new software that we use, when we do recommendations, we're automatically going to be setting some appointments for you, and we're setting soft appointments. And what's going to happen is a week before that appointment's due, our software is going to send you a text reminding you about that soft appointment. Really, Joe says. And I continue, yeah. And here's the thing. Type the letter C and send that back to me through that text messaging software that you have on your phone, and it's going to make that a hard appointment. So if you can make it, just hit the letter C and send it back to us, and we'll see you 7 days later and get the work that needs to be done. Really? Well, what happens if I can't make that day, Joe says? Well, Joe, send us a text to give you a call so we can set up a better time for you. So you just achieved 3 things, folks. You got the okay to text. You got your customer set up to respond faster. So how many times are you leaving cars out in the bay having to wait for them to get back to you, because now they're going to see that text on their phone. And finally, you've told them that you're going to be texting them for future work. So you're building your future appointments today. The big thing, folks, is making that meet and greet is definitely upselling things. And greeting that customer out there and doing everything out by the car is beautiful. One last point while we're in this screen, see the little map here? Customer is in and you give rides. Well, you got their address. Find out by tapping on there how far away from your shop it is. So you can measure the distance from there and find out how far away they are and find out if they're a customer that you can pick up and drop off as part of your service. Cool little thing. All right, Joe, one last thing I want to finish up with you is that while we have your vehicle in the shop today, we're going to do a winter check inspection, and I mentioned that to you. So I just went to my inspection page here. I click on the add button, and here's where all our inspections show up. And the question was asked earlier, does my tech have access to them? Yes, all the inspections you have in the system are accessible by you, the advisor, and or the technician right on the screen. So you tap on there. You can add these things to the tablet if you wish, which means all labor lines for the state inspection and everything's going to be added to the inspection. I'm not a big fan of this. And short track, I'm not a big fan of that either, so I'm going to leave that off. But if you want those things to add up, you can. And there's the inspection. So finally, all right, Joe, everything we got everything here. Let's do one last thing before you go away. You go in here, go to your order screen, capture signature. Joe, basically, everything that we see today, you're probably looking at about $150 as it stands. That's okay for you. Could you please put that down? So Joe can actually do $150 there if he wants, and then he can sign it. And basically, thank you, Joe, if that's a good signature. And the $150 thing is up to you. I don't necessarily put that in there, but this will appear on the invoice when it's all finished. Hit the save button there, and the signature is saved. Let Joe go on his way. As you turn around and walk back into the shop, tap on here, print the loop sticker, print your T tag, and if you're still using paper estimates, print that. Think about it. It's already going to be waiting for you when you get inside the shop. You're done with that. So any questions about the Service Writers write-up and using Mobile Manager? Remember, if you click the little hand button that's raised, it doesn't give me a question. Do we have an emailing option to customer-like message? You can email these items, and I will show you how and where. The thing is about 1/3 to a half of emails never get open. Does the estimate get mailed to the customer after it's signed if we choose not to print? That's a question that Justin Christensen asked. You can send the estimate to the customer after it's signed if you wish. That's up to you. How did you get the satellite map again? Go back to the customer screen on the tablet up here, and there's your tap on there, and the address that's here, the satellite map will bring up. And please, can you reshow the $150 repair example? Never mind, I figured it out. Jared says, sorry, I already answered the question. All right. Once again, what we're doing here is if we're writing up the customer out of the tablet and we want them to sign, we go to the order screen, go to the vertical 3 dots, capture signature. Now, I've already done one, but basically, you can have the customer just sign here and do whatever. I threw that $150 in because I like to expand my software and what it can do. And if the customer doesn't want to sign here, that's fine. we can handle it differently. We could take them out back and beat them up. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But no, I like the idea that I just thought about is that if I told the customer it's $150 as it stands right now and have them sign it, aren't I kind of getting them to say, hey, things are good? I guess I signed that or whatever. I mean, we can get them to do it through text and whatnot. That's up to them. All right. So we're going to change gears a little bit here. We're going to now assign the tablet to a technician. Whoa, let me go back. Again, I always get ahead of myself here. It's Joe Carr's car. We never assigned a technician. If I wanted to, I can go through and individually assign a technician to each line that I want, just by tapping here and choosing whoever this technician is right off of this list, okay? And if that's good, I can do that individually line by line. So if I have a job that should go to a specific tech and the other jobs are going to somebody else, that's how I can do it. If I want to just assign everything to a single tech, this is why I leave this blank to now, I can go back and assign it to that tech. And it's going to ask me, do you want me to add a tech to all those lines? I'm going to say yay and thank you. And you'll see that he goes right through the whole thing and gets assigned. All right, tech's assigned. Let's turn the tablet to the tech point of view. First things first, the tech should be the person that's in charge of the tablet. And that was Warner that we chose. Next thing, we want Warner only to see the jobs that Warner's doing. So we go over here. And mind you, I'm changing gears here, so hopefully everyone's following along. All right. So this tablet now is displaying what my tech Warner is. Now, as a service advisor, I could send a chat message right to Warner, and it's going to pop up and say, hey, Warner, you got a job. That's great. So we can do that. Or Warner might look in here, and he's done with Eugene Smith. Now he looks and sees this other job pop up. Woohoo! So what he does is he double taps on that, and what he does is start walking out. And since he's assigned to the tablet and everything, he can now, if you wish to use this, he can clock in on a job by choosing what he's going to start off with. Hit OK. He's clocked in and the clock is running. Okay. And if I go over to that other screen earlier that I showed you had nothing going on, it should show him in the time that's on there. All right. And mind you, folks, this time all does go in to Mitchell for you. So anyway, he gets the car, he starts working, and what we want to do here with him is we want him to do the approved stuff right away. The number one improved thing is maybe do that state inspection and do the winter inspection. Reason for this is approved work that may generate more work. So let's get him started on that. So he gets the keys, he gets the car, and he can go to town and start doing it. He starts doing his winter inspection, and very basically what you want your technician to do, and I'll show you where all these inspections come from, is he wants to check the exterior lights, tap on this field here. If everything's okay, that's all he has to do is tap on that. If you want to get fancy and put a description in there what the lighting's all about, that's good. Hit OK. This is all the text that's going to go in there automatically. And he taps on OK, and voila. Hits the green, goes down here, and notice the process. A message is going to go to my service advisor. Remind you, I have my message manager turned off so it doesn't pop up and interrupt you. I'll turn that on briefly so you'll see how messages go back and forth. But if he found all the lights to be okay, that's about all she wrote. And then take a picture. You're going to be like, why take a picture of what's already good? Well, there's a bit of reasoning behind this, and I'm going to go through that very briefly, very shortly. Let me get through a little more inspection. So he takes a picture of what's good, and he moves on. Okay, so now that I'm out of there, let's go and get our message. Let's close this down. You know, all of our programs can be accessed from right up in that left window right there. Now, mind you, a whole lot of stuff's probably going to show up, but I didn't want to do this while you guys were watching, so it's bothering us, etc. So let's give that a moment to catch up. So anyway, he takes a picture of his lights. He's out of here. He's good. First line done. Moves his way through, goes to the wiper washers. Now, he immediately comes upon and finds out the wiper's got an issue. Maybe they're not, they're torn and they're chattering. He's got a combo deal going on there. He taps on there, hits OK. They're so bad that they need to be dealt with. And there goes the message, since I turned my message manager up, that says the winter inspection for Joe Carr, the customer, is now in session. So a great thing for you guys when you're out there, walking around checking things. You don't need to go to the bay anymore. It's already going to be there right in front of you on your computer screen, etc. So as I go through, I find an issue, and it's something that I definitely need to address. I built this inspection where I automatically have canned jobs assigned to that red button. And it also has terminology assigned. And I'll show you where this all comes from. The wiper blade's damaged, torn, not clear in windshield, damaged window, replacement required, done. And another thing I want to make sure that I show to you is that when we do select the bad here, when's it due? Well, you have the choice of a number of days. If it's a red item, it should be due today. If it's something that's yellow, you can assign it to next week, next month, whatever. And by tapping these things, it's actually going to set a recommendation, a reinspection for that item, whatever interval you do. But today is the day the wipers are going to be done. So do all this again since I went back and fixed it. And also, of course, we already got that in there. We're good. All right, so I'm not going to take you through the whole inspection just for the reason that I want to show you the very basics. But let's take a walk away from this for a moment and look at some of the other things that are really important for your technicians while they're doing these inspections. I have some pictures here that I want to share with you. And I want to discuss with you why you want to take pictures of the good, the bad, and the ugly. First thing, let's not even talk about the good and bad and ugly. You're selling a customer service like an air conditioning diagnostic or some other service. Why not take a picture or two of what's going on? So here you're doing an AC service and you're showing what's going on. By taking these pictures and putting them in, because think about this, you can build an inspection related to the AC service. You can build an inspection related to the trans service. And you can have a line on an inspection just for those services. You're building value into what you're doing for your customer here. Yes, we had it hooked up to this equipment, and this is what we did with the $90 diagnostic fee. Or, remember you authorized a transmission fluid? Well, I just wanted to show you really did something positive for your vehicle. This is the color of your used transmission fluid. This is the color of your new. You can definitely see that that transmission needed that work. So using the inspection sheets and that camera, you're going to build value in the work that you're doing. You're going to build trust that that customer understands. A customer can tell, man, it looks a little bloody like that to me, but, you know, it's very obvious that that old stuff is not looking really good. So think about that. Now, another thing to think about. When you're taking pictures, does a customer really understand what you're looking at? No. So we have a couple of ways we're going to deal with it. Well, one way, most of us here should be able to understand that we're looking at a brake caliper, and we can see the rotor in there, we can see the actual pad depth, and we can see that we're using a green gauge. And in a world, green means go, means good, right? So take a picture of it. Let the customer know that there's good stuff going on with their car. Because if you hit them with all the bad stuff, they're going to be like, whoa, what the heck, man? Let me sell the car. But take a picture of the brakes and put a note in there maybe to recheck in 6 months or whatever. Now, later a car comes back in, you have the yellow feeler blade in there. Again, it's a different angle. It's a little hard to see, but now the customer now sees that the brakes are yellow. So what's that mean to him or her? Well, your brakes are getting low, but it's too early to replace anything, you know, of course, mattering what the depth of the pad is. But we're just giving you the heads up that maybe in your next visit, you're going to have them checked again and probably done. Or you can do it today without worrying about having to come back later. And again, in that inspection, choose that time period that's appropriate for the yellow that you've chosen there. Well, if everything goes right, you're going to get the visit like this unless you've already replaced the pads. You need brakes. This red marker is showing that the brake material in your vehicle is less than 2/32 of an inch. And I want you to think about that. That's 2/32 of an inch of brake material stopping your 1.5-ton car. You need brakes. You got to do it today. Okay? Here's the side effect. If that customer watched it go from green to yellow and red, and you've had the conversation, and you can go back and show them those other inspections because, yes, they stay with the car. Well, guess what? That customer should be prepared for that red today, and they're more than likely going to be the one that's going to buy it from you. So think about that, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's another thing, and you're going to have this conversation with your technicians about this. All right, listen, we were checking out underneath the hood. We found the belt to be cracked. You can write on the tablet, and I'll show you how that's done next. Look, it's obvious that's cracked. And that's the thing. We have to pull their attention to it because they themselves may not know what they're looking at. And notice, not only do we notice your belt cracked, but look, the alignment of that pulley is a bit off. So we're not only going to recommend that that belt, we're going to remind you that you need that tensioner pulley, and there's probably an idler pulley that I would suggest. Since you got 100,000 miles out of this belt, if I put a new belt on with this and the other part, it may make that belt fail sooner or crack sooner. So you're educating them and pointing that out to them so they can see what's going on. Tire-wise, what do you mean you can't fix my tire because there's a nail in the corner? Well, this is not a great example, but how many customers are going to crawl underneath the car and see what damage they have in there because their alignment's way out of whack or something of that sort? And again, bring it to their attention, but you can see that tire's got a lot going on. The good, the bad, and the ugly again. Have your tech measure across the tread. If it's 9:30 seconds, draw a line, just write a 9 up there. Next time that vehicle comes back, you know it's going to be 7:30 seconds or 5 or whatever. Again, the same thing that we just did with the brakes, but use this method here. Or use what happened here. This has obviously got more wear in the center tread, probably because it was overinflated. That's why you have the 2:30 seconds difference. Build that value by saying, listen, if you continue to overinflate your tires, you're going to wear the centers out long before the edges. We're going to need to take care of that. So if you come on a regular basis, we'll adjust your tire pressures for you. Or if it goes 9, 8, 7, 6 across the tread, there's a conversation about an alignment. So use the good, the bad, and the ugly in those inspections to get that customer to understand that things wear out and that when they come in the future, something's going to have to be done. So back to the inspection. We go to those wipers, and we want to show the customer why that wiper is not any good. You know, hopefully they already saw it. So you take that picture of the wiper, and then you hit OK on the screen there and like it. And once it gets saved by the software, you go have your technician tap back on that picture. So that's what I did is I tapped back on that picture, and I'm sorry, just tapped on the picture there. And using my finger on the screen, I can point to the customer where the issue is. If that's not a good enough drawing, all the technician has to do is hit that little image button up there, close the window, reopen it, and again, they can draw and show where the issue is. If they're happy with the drawing now, hitting this little save icon, there. So this is the other side of the lesson, folks. We have to be sure that we can point the customer to where the issue is because they're not always going to understand what's going on. All right? So the technician goes through this whole inspection and completes it. Be aware that we have this little button up here where you can hit Pass All, and that is something you shouldn't need to do. Because remember, any part of the inspection that has not actually been done may get a green selection, but there's no tech notes, no pictures, etc. And once you do that, you can complete it. I'm doing it right now just to get through it so I can continue with my demonstration and exit out. So technician gets the question, yes or no. If he's finished with it, good. We go to the scorecard here, and on the Mitchell platform, folks, you have the scorecard available. You can set the scorecard up that if there is anything that doesn't pass the inspection, I'll show you where this is set up. I'm talking about inspection with the technician, what he or she has done. No pictures on green, as you can see, just went by. Well, guess what? It's not going to let me quit the actual document. So the technician's going to have to go back and take those pictures on that so to make sure that everybody's good. So we're going to move out of here since I already have that locked up. So here's the next step. When that technician's finished the inspection and doing the vehicle checkout and everything like that, he can send a message through the chat up to the service desk. Go right to chat, do a private chat to John B. Need OKs. He sends that message, and that goes up to the desk, and know what the service advisor now gets the message that the inspection's done. Their job now is to go through that stuff and start looking into it, while the technician now does the rest of the work that he's authorized to do, be it alignment, oil change, and whatnot. And the big thing here, folks, is that we're not wasting time. The technician is still engaged, still moving, still in their bay. And here's a little bit more information for the technician. If you have set up all of your services, the technician has availability to ProDemand. And some shops may not like this, but other ones do. That technician does his diagnosis, and let's say there was a problem with a horn today, And he goes into, let's just go to electrical before I get crazy. Yeah, there's a party with the charging system. And he finds that the alternator is the issue. He's tapping through these. He finds the available models and the right information, what he's doing here. Remove and replace the assembly. It's being added directly to the repair order. He goes back to ProDemand here. That was the part. Comes back to here. I'm sorry, it was the labor, electrical, parts, charging system, alternator assembly. And he double clicks, or sorry, taps on that on the tablet, and it's added right to the repair order, to work order. And he can be doing this. And here's the beautiful thing. If you look at the bottom here, those two items have shown up already. And if the part has a picture, it's included. Again, this is based on the database that we're looking at, and this is ProDemand, but there's going to be times when the picture is always going to be a good thing. You can be showing a customer, hey, this is why we have to take care of that, so the technician's able to do that. Also, using ProDemand, your technician right in their bay has the ability to go to the website and look up wire diagrams, or anything else. So I was starting out with a horn issue. I'm going to tell you, man, if I was a tech and I had this available in my bay, how much time I would have saved instead of going to the computer, looking, well, first waiting for someone to get off the computer, then getting on there and finding this information, then trying to print it and find out I'm out of paper, then try to print it after I put paper in and find out the ink is bad. You know the whole story. I don't need to do all that. I can stand on my bay right now and I have a wire diagram that's going to show me exactly how this horn circuit works and tell me exactly how to fix it. Think about the efficiency that your technician's going to get out of that. So again, you have to have access to ProDemand, et cetera, and that's going to work for you. You also have, I just went to vehicle, you also have repair information available through your online service. This is actually on a tablet still, and this here is actually going to go through the tablet and open its browser, and it's another way of getting into your actual software. So you have a couple of different ways of doing that. And the way this works here is if you're choosing the vehicle, you want to put in the VIN, et cetera, like that, we can do all that. Just to show you another option. Are there any questions? All right, 2 questions came up. First, please explain in detail about the time clock when someone has finished the work so I can charge the customer accordingly. All right, and also, can I see the production before we post it? Yes, it's all going to be in Mitchell, and I'll show you where that is. And also, can you turn off the feature that allows a technician to put parts and labor on the work orders? Unfortunately, we can't turn that off. The only way I could figure is not have the access available on a tablet to ProDemand. Problem is that's going to limit their ability to look things up, so you have to be aware of that. Let's go to the time clock real quick first, because that's a great thing to remind me what's going on. I need to assign this back to my technician. Give me 1 second here. Filter by tech, and mind you, all this that I'm doing here is not necessary, because what's going to be happening is that the tech's already going to be assigned. But in order to sign out, the technician, of course, has to be assigned to the tablet. Look it up. When you get to this screen here, if the technician's finished these certain jobs that you chose, you click on them, go up to time clock. You want to clock out here, yes. And if the technician wants to move on to the rest of it, you can open this back up. You can re-enter back onto the jobs that are completed, so that's the way to go back. And you can go there and add the other jobs if you wish. But at this point, we're going to leave the guy off. Okay? But remember, the tablet has to be signed to the individual for all this to work. All right? Now, I have some questions to answer, I know, but just give me a chance to move through a couple of things here first. Reassign the tablet. And again, I know this is confusing, but I'm just trying to show you every point of view that you can. And hopefully you'll practice enough to be able to fly through things like this too. All right, so let's take a look at the inspection before we get into anything else. All right, so the inspection can be done right on the tablet if you wish, or it can be done in Report Pro. Open up Report Pro on your computer, go to Tools. Inspection Manager is where that happens. Open up Inspection Manager, And there's Joe Carr's Winter Special, and it's in progress. I never finished it. And you can go in there and take a look and see what's going on with Joe Carr's vehicle. What you want to do here is be sure that everything that the technician's doing is done right and properly, and that there's nothing crazy happening. What I like to do is, since we didn't complete that, let's go back to my inspection manager and open it up to an inspection that's finished to show you an idea of what you should be looking for. So again, I'm in inspection manager. I've opened up a repair. I've got it. What I want to do is go through line by line and take a look and see what the tech is. There's a light bulb that's not working and not a whole lot else you can do to indicate that. I have a number of ways that I can look at this inspection. I can look at the inspection point by point, all right, by clicking here, and it's going to take me through one item at a time. And it's up to you. If this is the way it works for you, you can do that. It's going to show you the picture and the descriptions that are in each one, okay? Or I can look at the point at the the inspection in two different methods here. Here we have it laid out in one long inspection, or we can tab it, where I have my lighting systems is the first thing I'm going to look at. I have my wiper washers is my next thing I'm going to look at. So as you can see, there's a couple of different ways of looking at these things. It's up to you how you choose to do it. It doesn't affect the final product except for making it easier for you as the advisor to look at things. So let's go back and take a look at some of the odds and ends in this inspection. Okay, we already talked about the light. That's all good to go. Again, taking pictures of the obvious and the unobvious, really good things, and drawing on the tablet and showing what's going on. Again, building value. If you add a coolant, if you add a washer fluid, why not take a quick picture while you're pouring it in there? Because you know what? Customer now knows that they're getting some extra things on the side. We already talked about tires. If there's a pressure issue like we saw, be sure to show them. Let them know right up front that it's a little on the light side and you need to get something done. And go through and remember the good, the bad, and the ugly. If their power steering fluid or whatever is up to the good level, be sure you show them that and have it on there. And again, these are all little steps that are going to take some extra time up front, but the bottom line is, folks, they're going to pay off in the end. Now, if this customer happens to be waiting and you want to show them this inspection, you can still send it to them, but here's the thing I want to make you aware of. You can open it in the browser, and what this does is it renders, because we're in a working version, but now it's rendering the version that your customer is going to get. So it opens up, and it's going to have your logo and all that fine stuff going on right here. And here's what happens, is if that customer is waiting, you can open this up right on your PC, and you can go through the document right now with the customer, and here's the beautiful thing. Everything that we do is clickable, lookable, and you can do it. You can take them through point by point. And if it's a customer that does not want to go out in the shop, well, you can show them exactly right here at your service desk. You can even do this display on the tablet too, just to let you know that this is available on the tablet for the customer. So you can walk the customer up to the tablet or walk the tablet up to the customer and show them and take them through the document. The other thing to also be sure that you're aware of is that when you see these little learn mores, and you've rendered it and sent it to the customer, or you're sitting there with the customer in the waiting room, you can tap on these things, and it's going to open up a little video and blast your ears out, I apologize, and it's going to give them a description of what's going on with the power steering system. So you have the ability to educate your customer as to why turning that fluid, changing that fluid, or whatever is all going to be good. So use all these options, folks. They're all there. So this is exactly what the customer is going to see when I send it to them. Now, how do I send it to them if I want to do that? Well, text message, email, or put it as a note on a work order. If I send a text message, I click here. It's going to pull the customer's information down. As you can see, their address and the number that we have. It's going to put this little note together. It's going to customize it. It's going to send the inspection like this, and a little thing that they tap on when they get it. And guess what? Once they get it, they look at it, they tap on it, a little message is coming back to us to say, hey, Eugene Smith has looked at his inspection. Well, guess what? It's time to give Eugene a call, all right? Or have him text you back or her text you back and tell you what's going on. We even have the RO number there for you to share so they can call you back or whatever they need to do. And here's the other nice thing, folks. Remember, all the text that you send, the time that you send this message out, it's all going to be listed here. So when a customer says, well, I didn't get it, or he says they got it too late, you have everything right here to prove the full conversation. So if the customer text back that they're going to okay to work, have them say, I authorized the previous mentioned work, or I, Mr. Smith, you know, whatever method works. But you can have them text it back, and it's going to be time, date, stamped, and all that for you right then and there. All right. You can send it via email. It's going to open up your email program, which I don't have open set up on here, but everything should be set up when we install the software, and you can email it to the customer. And that's the inspection. So if you're doing a truck and you want to make sure they have copies of every inspection, you can email each one of them. Or you can send this right into the work order. When you click here, it's going to put a copy of the actual inspection field, that little URL code, right in the document, and you can always go back and access it. And on a tablet, you can do the same thing. Okay. So that's a quick run through of how you check the inspections through the inspection manager. And just to show you real quick on the tablet again, if I go into a job and I tap on that job and I go right into the actual inspection screen and I open up that inspection, I can text it, email it, or team chat it, or put it on a work order. All that is available to me right on the tablet. And again, if the customer is waiting, I can tap right here, and it's going to render a copy right on the tablet that I can now go out to the customer and show them exactly what we did today and what's going on and why we need to do it. And again, all these little learn mores will work right on the tablet. So you got multiple ways of approaching your customer and making that upsell right then and there. Okay. Are there any questions at this point? I'm going to launch another poll here. I have a question that just popped up. If multiple techs are assigned to one job, will the job show up on each tech's tablet, and will it show the whole job? Justin, this is great. That's a good question. And will it show the whole job or only the jobs that the tech is assigned? I'm going to tell you right now, Justin, I'm going to have to look that up. That's a great question, and I don't know the answer, so I'm going to look that up and let you know, and I'll email you back with that answer. So try send an email out to everybody if everybody's interested in that same answer. I don't know. At this point in time, I don't want to spend a lot of time setting everything up at this point. The next question that came up, when you priced up the alternator previously, where did the price come from? Was it linked to the part shop or just what ProDemand thought the price was? That is just what ProDemand thinks the price is. It's not linked up to a shop. So yes, you have to be careful with that. Okay? And our poll's out there, 79% have voted. And I'm going to close it up. That's beautiful, and it's 100% yes. You understand that that inspection method, using those multi-point inspections, is definitely going to help your customers understand and build that transparency with them. So last but not least, there's a lot to cover, and that's why we take an hour and a half. Those inspections, where do they come from and how do we build them? Well, again, we're in Report Pro on the PC is where we go to Customize, and we go to multi-point inspection right here. We click on that, and this is all the inspections that I currently have in my system. Your list is probably going to be shorter, but you can add to it and do whatever you wish. Well, how do you add to it? Well, the go-to store right here. I have been asking that we should change it to the library or whatever, but here's what's happening. Thousands of shops are using our software, and they're building their own inspections, and some of them are actually sending them to us to share with other shops that want to use that same type of inspection. So what you see here, a list, besides the bolt-on ones that we've built, is a list of inspections that many other shops have built. Take your time and look through these. There is no charge. That's why I want to call it the library. If you do used car inspections, this TuneX used car inspection is one of the higher rated downloaded ones right there. And what you see here when you click on it, you open the window, this is the actual inspection. They've done a lot of work for you. So you can go right through here and have this work already done. You know, if you're like me and your typing skills ain't the best, a lot of typing's already been taken care of for you. And I'm going to show you what that means in a moment. So go through your list, but I'm going to show you the granddaddy of them all, the inspection that's got the most downloads. It's the IRS inspection. And why is this probably being downloaded? Because this guy went nuts. He must have been busy, or I'm sorry, bored one day. It's downloaded 810 times. 810 times. Why? Because this guy went nuts. Look at the largeness of this. In my opinion, it's a little overkill, maybe on your first visit with a car, this is the way to go, and then you break it down to smaller inspections for next visits. You guys handle it how you wish. But look what happened. On the road test, he's got this road test as the first inspection point. He's already got these 4 notes that the technician can choose from: brakes noisy, making grinding noise, pulling, goes to floor. He's already got recommendations built in so that the technician only has to tap, tap, and move through. And he can do it in each inspection line as he sees fit. So how to download it? Just click the download button right here, and it's downloaded right to your software. Just to give you a heads up, here it is. It takes the Eyers name off of it, but it's still the courtesy inspection. So let's take a look at the courtesy inspection right in our inspections window to break it down and understand how they work. Every inspection has a name. So this one would have been Eyers courtesy inspection, but here you can call it whatever you want. You can call it JB's courtesy inspection. Just select, type it in, and be good with it. That easy. The next thing that you see, the titles in green, those are called groups. And there's a couple of ways of looking at the groups. Here, this group is all the things that he wants looked at while the car is being driven. So he wants the technician to give a report on everything when he drives a car. This group here deals with the panel and gauges. Another way of looking at the groups is they can be systems, for example, wiper washers or the lighting. So this is the general system, the group that we're looking at, the lights. But here's all the different possible light bulbs the car may have that we can choose from and select. And mind you, not all of them apply to every car. And a group can also be like the charging system and tire pressures and things of that sort. All these things can be broken down. So now, what does it do for you to download it? Well, first off, it's a humongous inspection. If you don't want to use any of it, you can easily just take it away. Just delete the group, done, it's gone. All right, mind you that it's gone, but now you can download it again. But you can make this down shorter by taking off large chunks. If you find certain parts that you don't want to use, grab that point, drag it over here, and what it does is it pulls it out of here, and it keeps it, so you can go and use it for future use, or you can bring it back. And notice how that little black line appears as I slide. When that appears and I let go, that's where that point's going to show up. And let's take a look at what we got here. If you remember, this is a point. The group's the big thing. The point's the individual inspection. This is the road test. And here's all my tech findings that he just taps on the tablet and puts it in. The one note that's missing should be a good. And how hard is it to do that? Give it a title. No issue noted with the brakes at this time. Hit OK. And there it is. Now the technician has a good answer. After he types there, what's his recommendation going to be? Okay, we got an OK, so that's already in place. You'll see it's the same basic format. If there's an issue that definitely needs to be addressed, we can choose default on red, which means that when we click on it, that's how it's going to pull that job across that I demonstrated earlier. If it's something that we definitely want to recommend because we want to look at it, we can choose yellow. So what happens here is when the tech chooses the yellow or red on the inspection, it's automatically going to put this in here, and it's going to look for these canned jobs. And as you can see, I've already built in the diagnostic time. Now, this is the stuff that will not be on here when you download it. All this is there, but now you have to hook it up to your own canned jobs. I'll show you how easy that is just by removing these two. Go to Add. You look in your system. You can search for brakes. You see all the brake things that come up here. And if you want to do diagnostic time or brake flush, you choose those two. Those are now hooked up to the canned jobs in your system. And you go in here, the name will pull through. You do need to hook it up to the right category, and I'm using inspections here. And you can assign a month interval you want it looked at, brakes looked at, or driven, the vehicle driven at least every 6 months when it comes in, or every 6,000 miles. And once you're done doing all of that stuff, you got that one point done. Just close the window, and it's all there and saved. So you can go through and pull these apart. You can do anything you wish. Make sure that when you're finished, save, and you have multiple ones up here to look at. Okay? So again, opening it's as easy as that. Building the points or going through your list of points is all good. That's all she wrote. Are there any questions about what's going on here? Again, I know it's a lot of information, but we're getting through it. If you build inspections and you'll have multiple locations, for example, you like the spring inspection, you're going to export this spring inspection out to your desktop, to a USB drive, or whatever, hook it up to an email and send it to your sister store across the way. As easy as that. And then when they get it, all they do is click on import, and they find that inspection, hit open, and it's now on their computers. So you don't have to send them up line for everybody. You can send them from store to store. Also, in the inspections window, we have our options. When you're writing up the customer, remember when I had the question, does it want to add these lines? So, for example, the car came in for a winter inspection, but we have a state inspection. Do I want that state inspection to be an inspection line and that overall inspection? I have it ask me. And when suggestions are coming through here, our recommendations are going to go through with that. And if we have short track, we're licensed to it, we can actually have it pull up some of the issues that might be there in short track. And if we're doing symptoms on there, we can show the common concerns, and we can control how many or how few symptoms appear. When we're sharing it, remember we can share via text or email. This is where that message comes from. Customer, take a moment, look at this comprehensive report. And anything that you see in brackets, that's information that's customized, that our computer looks at your management system and pulls the customer's name, the vehicle type, and the URO for the inspection, and then it puts the repair order number right at the end. These wildcards, as we call them, are these. So you can add and subtract any one of these, and it's as easy as editing. If I don't want the repair order at the end of that, I just knock that out, hit save, and it's gone. If I send it by email, this will pop up inside the email, fill it in automatically when I send it out to the customer. And when I make any changes here, definitely hit save. Theme options. You'll have multiple ways of showing the inspection. This is the most commonly used one. And I can open that up by right-clicking with my mouse. If I want to select it, you'll see the little check mark there that tells me it's selected. This is another one. If I like this one better, I right-click it to open it and check it out. I left-click it to select it. So again, so you can take a look at these and see what format works for you. Let's go back. I don't like that one. If we go back and we want to have rules, you can turn the scorecard for those inspections on and off. And again, it's a training tool, folks. If you want to enable it, have both those checked. And here it is. Right now, that inspection I didn't finish because it wouldn't let me. I can do it now. But if you want to really get the training going with the technicians, you can choose these items, and it's going to cause them to show the inspection and see what's going on. It's going to require technician points and notes on each red line, and it's going to ask for an average number of pictures per red spot. Now, 1.5 is a little hard to take pictures of, but what this is going to look at all of the reds, and it wants to have at least 1.5. So if I had 2 reds and I have 2 pictures, I've already met that criteria. Okay, if that makes sense. It's the average number. Okay. If I'm going through here, actually, I would have to have 3. My math sucks. Anyway, sorry. Yellow points require technician comment and pictures. Again, these things are easily changed by flicking them up and down, and you can turn this on and off, and you want to make sure that you get pictures on the green points too, and that vehicle picture that I talked about when we first wrote up the customer can show up right at the top. All right? Legacy paper, you folks are a mobile manager. You don't need the paper inspections, so we're going to let that go. Okay, one last thing that we're going to, get to. Help. All right, a couple of things for you here. This menu is very important. If you have any issues, you got the how-to guide and everything going right here. If you click on this, it takes you to our website, and it takes you to Report Pro's how-to. So you'll see Mobile Manager is also available up there, so you can get right to that. You can look through, make whatever adjustments you need to, and live read up on what's going on. And give you a heads up, I made a lot of videos that will hopefully be linked up to these things, so you'll be able to click on there, go to a video that in as little time as 30 seconds and no more than 5 minutes will show you exactly the answers you need to make any fixes. What's new? Anytime an update comes, I'm going to give you a heads up. Click on that update and let it apply. Everybody's afraid of it. because Windows has made us afraid. Windows update can lock us out, crash our computer, do all sorts of stuff. Generally, 99.44% of the time, our updates occur in just a few seconds and don't break anything. If it does, we'll come back with a real quick update after that and fix it. But this is telling you all your updates. If you're not currently at level 169, you're back here, you're missing some cool stuff. So do yourself a favor and take a look at that. Again, this will come up automatically after each update. When you set the question that came up before, when you set the options, it will be mandatory for the technician to take those pictures. So yes, when you're setting up the report card for those inspections, it's going to force, as long as you have the 2 top selections done, they will have to before they can complete the inspection. Okay, remote support. Hopefully you don't have any issues, but if you do, do not call us, do not email us. This is the fastest way to get things done. Click on the remote support button here and tell us what your issues. Of course, spelling is always nice, but no tablet communications might be something. You type that in and you hit here, and it's going to send you right to a page that's going to download an application, and it's going to let us connect directly to your computer. Again, remember, if you get that no issue, and here it is, this is what's going to come out, it's going to download, and let us actually connect. And I don't want to do that for my guys out front there, get all upset at me. But the idea here is, if you let us look inside the computer, it's a lot faster for us to figure out what's going on than it is for you to call and wait on the phone and try to describe to us. So let us get in there and take a look. Also, our website's available to you right here. You can go here, and if you need contact or any other information or support, this again is right where you can go to actually get that hookup. Put your shop name, number in the description. Hit here, it's going to let you get in. You have these online supplies and training that you can help you with. And if you want to try calling or emailing us, note the 24 to 48 hour, it's real. Here we got people standing by and should hopefully get to you very shortly. Videos. I already mentioned, right now this takes you to our Facebook page, but in the next month's time, my hope is that you're going to have what I call snippets up there. Very short little videos that, for example, you want to know how to build an inspection. You click on the video, open up the inspection in on your laptop here or your computer, and it takes you point by point by point how to build an inspection, so you can actually follow along in real time, and you're not going to be bogged down with a 34-minute video or anything like that to take a look at. It's going to give it all to you in nice little bite-sized pizzas, yeah. Can you show the time clock showing management? I say, all right. And what are the hours for online support? Eastern time, our hours here are, what do you call it? 8 to 8. Actually, yeah, that's what our hours here, 8 to 8, because we do have a person in California can answer, and also that's Monday through Friday. And the one last thing is to get back to Mitchell, get back to, oh, geez, it was this job that I worked on. Whoops, give me a second here. Out of that. Remember all the databases will only let you get into one thing. It was the inspection that I did, and it should show the technician's actual time right there. I was only on it for a short time, but it's going to show the actual time. So again, I'll show you how you get to that. Go to the job that you're looking at, double click on it. It opens up your labor window right here, and there's the actual time that's right in there, and you can see if that guy really flat rated it or skipped over it. It's right there for you. All right, folks, that about does it, unless we have any more questions. All right, great group. Here's the big thing. Remember, you will get an email that states that let everyone know that if you go and unlock a record. Oh, thank you, Rob. Yeah, I fly through it, but here's what happens, folks. What I did there is when that message came up, be sure that if anyone's in the tablet, get them out of there first, because if you try to make a change while 2 people are in it, you're going to lose a lot of information, so be careful about that. I tend to blow through it because I'm trying to not waste a whole lot of time. So yeah, you can only have access to a repair order in any database, any management system from one place to another. The question I also get here is, where can I see total pending work hours for the shop? That's a whole different ball game there, DHAP, but I'll show you that in a moment if you want to hang on. Let me let the other people, if there's no other questions, understand that this has been good. If you have any questions or whatever, you can reach me at this following email address, which I'll send out to you folks if I can get to chat. When you hang up here or break off, you will get a little survey. Please do me a favor and fill that out. And if there's anything that technology, Jay Burkhauser at Bolt On Technology. I can't talk and type at the same time. Technology.com is my email address, and that's out to all of you. If you get that survey, give me a rating on the star side, and if there's anything you think I can do to make it better, let me know. I do know it's a lot of information to cover, but hopefully you folks will pick it up. So those of you that want to sign off, you can carry on and sign off. And where can I get the total pending work hours for the shop? The one thing I think I can show you right here, DHAP, if we go into, it's not going to show you the pending hours, but then again, you're going to look in the calendar, and this is a Mitchell thing. When you're setting up your daily, you should have it set up where the calendar is going to show you what you have in process and what's going on. But also, if you're using our software, I want to go to the calendar, it should give you an idea. If you have this set up here, it's going to tell you what's hanging out there and what you got appointment-wise and what's not showing up. So that's one answer to that question. There's a couple answers. Secondly, if you go to Report Pro and you go to Tools and you go to Workflow Manager, this is one of the best tools for looking at what's going on in your shop. And of course, this is a different discussion, but I'll go through it briefly. It shows each one of your techs and what jobs assigned. So there's that Joe Carr job that Saxon got, and it's still an estimate. And estimates are blue, repairs are red, and invoices are green. So you can see what status it is. If you're, as I said earlier, the invoice in my world's done, I can deselect that and only show my estimates of repair orders. And it displays when the vehicle is supposed to be done, how many hours are available on each job, and it gives you an idea of how far the job is. So if this person completed that ticket, that's going to tell you that that one's finished and whatnot. So this might be the best answer I give, that as you're looking at these and seeing, like, this job hasn't even started, it's an estimate 1 hour is still hanging out on there. So between the two things that I just showed you, that should give you the answer you are. And here's another neat thing. If I'm a little concerned that Melissa's not getting into this job, I'm in this screen and Workflow Manager, I can click and drag that over to Randall. Of course, I got to get to where the little thingy goes away. And now Randall's assigned to that job. So it's a great graphical interface for you folks to look at. All right, again, I gave you folks my email address. If you have any future questions, let me know. I'll take care. Very happy New Year, and I wish you the best. And this is John Burkhauser signing off, saying hello and goodbye, all in one statement. All right, bye-bye.